All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Lab. As you know, we are here at Co.Lab Studios, and we do this every Friday. Content Fridays is what we like to call it. We talk about business, talk about what's on our minds. We just chill, hang out. This is like the kitchen table conversation that you had at home. Family and friends hanging out, having a couple drinks, and just talking about whatever's on their mind. You just so happen to be now in a studio where we get to talk about business and all sorts of cool stuff. But today's a very special episode for me. The bottom of my heart, I have been trying so hard to get this person to come into the studio and record a podcast. I want everyone to welcome the wonderful, the myth, the legend, Georgia.
It's a reason why I've been hidden. I feel like I should be wearing my video first.
The mic does not hear you that well, so you're going to need to put that right in front of your face. No,
usually,
it does hear you really good.
Okay, because usually it's not.
With you. As long as it's pointing to you, you're really good. So there's no, this is not like a question and answer joint. This is just like kind of going through it. And recently, I used to do our sponsor section right in the middle to kind of give us a break. But I've noticed... No, you can have your iPad out. This is chill.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to block this.
No, you can't even see it. I have to lift it up. So I have two out. As you guys know, we get a lot of different sponsors coming through. I currently have two of the bottles out. You guys have seen this in another episode. Duke and Dame. It's a really cool bottle. I'm going to let you pull that website up so you can check that out. I know that you were very excited about this when you smelled it. And for me, personally, I call it the gateway whiskey.
Whiskey.
Yeah, I feel like it's the intro whiskey to anyone that doesn't like whiskey.
Sir, I'm Caribbean.
I know you like no, I get it. I know you like it. I recently had Jamaican white rum here. And we went through the whole thing. It was crazy.
You need that.
Crazy strong. But
crazy strong, sir.
This is really good.
That's called a Monday afternoon.
Are you kidding me? All right. But Duke and Dame, when we first tried this one, that's what everybody's consensus was, is that it goes down very smooth and so on and so forth. But
smooth, balance.
I'll let you check the website out. Yeah. If you want to read any of their mission statements or whatever, you're good to go on reading that.
Our vision was to redefine the whiskey drinking experience by creating a premium flavored whiskey that would stimulate the senses at each stage of drinking process, with incredible aroma, remarkable taste, and extremely smooth finish. Out of this vision, the award-winning Duke and Dame salted caramel flavored whiskey was born.
Salt and caramel.
Yeah, I mean, it
smelled good, right?
Yeah.
You haven't had a chance to taste it,
Not
so
yet.
Let's make that happen right now.
Oh my gosh!
Going to start
Trying
right
to
off
get
the
me
bat.
drunk, guys.
Yeah, right off the bat. No training wheels on this one. But this is George's first podcast, so why not start it off with a bang?
Notice the reason why I'm not looking at any cameras whatsoever.
You don't need to. You're just vibing.
I kind of want to put my
hoodie up.
Yeah.
You put your hoodie up. No big deal.
I will say it's kind of cold.
The thing that people really enjoy about the lab, I feel like it's that rawness. The feedback I've gotten is that people feel like they're hearing a conversation with us. Typically, we have 4 people at the table.
Yeah.
Me, Baron, Dorenia, and then a guest. And then we're just hitting here, kind of going through the combo. We have so much that we talk about. I'm going to put this to the side because we're going to try that in the halfway, in the mid-journey. Let's try this one.
Cheers. In the eyes. Top table. Don't be rude.
How do you say it? Is there a saying that you have?
I mean, I usually say the one in Spanish, right?
What is it?
I remember saying it. I'm not going to practice my
You
Spanish.
just end up with liquor somewhere inside your body or on your shirt.
Well.
Ooh, smell it.
All right, let's rock.
I still call it the gateway whiskey for me.
How you feel? It's definitely smooth.
Smooth, right?
It's like one of those caramel candies that old people usually have in their bag and you pull out.
Everybody says that. It's the
Not a Werther's. It's just like the chewy caramel.
The little square.
Yeah, that you get from the dollar store.
But growing up, we used to get a lot of those as our candies. In DR, it's a bunch of those little caramelos. It's
yes, exactly.
Little squares. Yeah, it does taste like that. It reminded me of the Halloween, the one that nobody likes, the little pumpkin joint. It's like a little triangle.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. For me.
Not the corn.
The corn ones.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the pumpkin ones.
I didn't know there was pumpkin ones.
Yeah, it's a different flavor profile.
It's really good. So overall, you like it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Cool. Awesome. Smooth.
Has a nice little burn to it, too.
Not too much. I'm not a wussy, okay? I just like LaCroix.
Sure.
Judge me if you want.
Judge.
So in today's, there's no rhyme or reason, but we have been talking about a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I feel like you have a nice perspective, fresh from any of the other people that have been here talking about this topic. But AI is, it's out there where people are talking about it. And you kind of just got exposed down the rabbit hole. How do you feel?
Well, I've been asking you whenever I catch you about the whole AI thing and kind of what it's looking like and how it's disrupting so many channels, kind of like what the internet did for music and film.
Yeah, like you're talking about back like in the MP3 days.
Yeah, back in the day.
Or LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire,
Napster.
BearShare, Napster, just name it.
Right? So like I would say that I agree. It's like in that sense of disruption. But there's so much, it goes so deep, right? And today I took you down a little bit of a journey through ChatGPT and just like what that can do for you. The biggest debate right now that people are having is that it's going to replace a job or something like journalists or whatever, your job is gone, so on and so forth. A lot of people are talking about that.
It's more of a redefinement, though. Like
Tell me more.
It's going to force quality out of it and make it a lot easier for that content. Before we talk about content being king or queen, but it's going to force more content to be there. The problem, however, is going to be the finding the truth in all the content. Kind of like what we're dealing with the news cycle now. Everyone's having all these things come out like, yeah, is it true? Is it real? Is it honest? So how do you get that from so much information?
I feel like right now there's programmers, building this into ChatGPT and a lot of other AIs, where if you ask it to do something that's like unethical, it'll say that I'm just an AI and I'm not able to create propaganda or something like that. Like I was actually doing a homework with my kid. Her school assigned her to create a poster. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me, but cool. The topic was college students, middle school students. You had to pick from one category. And then the other category was like college and other things. And I was like, we're making a propaganda folder about college. Sign me up. Let's go. So,
Yes, we know.
Right?
We know.
This is amazing, right? So then we go to create it, and I literally just walk her through it, and I just ask, hey, give me an idea of what you think it'll look like. What should the design look like, and so forth. But it just allowed that conversation to flow a lot smoother, especially if she didn't understand what propaganda was. I said, give me an example of propaganda for a middle school student. And it was able to give it to me, and I was like, make it a little simpler with an analogy, and it did it, right? So there's a lot of really cool potential for it, but now that you're fresh eyes to it, what do you think the potential is for you? Like how do you think that?
For me? Oh, that's a good question. Stop looking at me like that. You're prompting for an answer that I'm not going to provide.
No, it's okay. It's no problem.
I think it helps to bridge that gap of so many things to do that you don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. So it helps with that spark. But once again, that morality clause comes in. Like a lot of things that it creates, do you own it? And if you do own it, for how long? If someone then types in the same prompt or gets similar staging, do they own it? Who has the right? Like, how does that work? And if we're already in this AI journey, what is it like going forward? What's the next big thing? And how long is this wave going to last? That's really, yeah.
I think you said it best when we were talking about like Midjourney, because we're now getting, like, I wanted to get deeper in it, and I used you like as a way to like, hey, let's work together to try to build it. And you're like, well, if we got in early, we may be able to get the licensing and the rights.
Right.
While later legislation comes up and then maybe prevents that, right?
Got to get it before they
Gotta get
lock it down
while it's hot, right? So I feel like a lot of people that are watching this and they're maybe like on the fence and they're maybe afraid of AI for whatever reason that may be, or they're like they have this struggle with their morals or ethics and saying, I was forced in school to create original content, and then we could go down a whole nother rabbit hole about what's original versus what's not original. But the idea is that you're struggling with this like internal dialogue of like, is this mine? Is this original? Am I an imposter? Isn't
what else? Does it even matter? I mean, at what point does the creation of the content matter versus getting it out to the masses and inspiring that next level? Doesn't matter who created it. Like you look at the Sistine Chapel. Yeah, we all know who created it, but it it also inspired. And
It brings to like so there's fuck, I forgot his name, but he talked about who cares, we could curse on this. That's the beauty of podcasting. We don't have red tape.
gosh,
We can do whatever we want.
clutching my invisible pearls.
Right? But someone said that the best form of collaboration, I swear, if I forgot this person's name, they're gonna butcher me in the comments, but whatever. It happens.
Light them up. Light them up.
But the concept is that when you're collaborating amongst a group of people, it's not the best idea, or it's not whose idea, it's the best idea that needs to win, right? So in this context with AI, it's not who gets the credit for the content. Yeah. It's like, what is the best form of delivering that content? What is the best form of organizing or vocalizing it, right? Making it relatable to someone, especially when maybe you couldn't put those pieces together, but you're using aggregated information to give it to you. A lot of people don't really know how fast it does it.
It is super fast. Just the free version is super fast.
Do you know that what you see is still slowed down?
I would assume it to be.
It's making it slow down so that you're comfortable with it. But if you go to like compose.ai, which is like, yeah, go to it. It's like a front end, kind of like a window to ChatGPT. Compose AI builds it into a plugin for Microsoft Word or for your email. So when you need to respond to an email, you could just say respond to so-and-so with an answer, a positive answer, a negative answer, and it'll build the response for you, and you don't have to write it. But it does it in an instant. So it shows you like the real speed at which it's working.
I got you.
It really just like pops on the screen as opposed to like typing it out like an effect, you know?
Chrome extension.
Yeah, it's a Chrome extension. So yeah, you should definitely check it out if you really want to see how powerful like AI is in that sense. Nice. I feel like you're getting re-inspired when it comes down to this stuff.
You know what I enjoy, and I caught myself as I was listening to myself back, is I like to flip-flop just to mess with you. And you'll ask me a question. I'm like, yeah, no, maybe. And then you'll say something like, but it really is that, the points. And I enjoy that about myself. So, pat.
So, yeah, Georgia knows me for a pretty long time. And she loves to push my buttons, but it's okay.
Why have buttons if I can't push them?
Right? Why not have friends to challenge you? That's the whole point.
But to answer your question, yes, it is something that is re-inspiring me and rejuvenating my creativity, because between life and everything else, it's kind of hard to be creative when you're dealing with a lot.
There's a lot that people deal with, not only like just regular everyday routine stuff or, you know, like paying your bills kind of stuff. Right. But I feel like the reset that we got, which a lot of people talk about, but we still don't understand the impact of that until like years from now. But the pandemic did play a big toll on my sleep cycle. That was the first thing it hit. Then the way that I perceived a lot of things, like the way that at first I was really scared of stuff, scared of going out, scared of coming to the studio just because I didn't want to get, sick. Yeah. But then I had to say, like, I have one life to live, bro. Like, what am I going to do? Stay inside the house the whole time?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the house, my guy.
I get it, but I have the things I got to do are outside my house. They're not inside the house. So, I feel like a lot of that pushed me. It gave me a sense of urgency to not only create the studio, but to also like start doing the things that I really said I wanted to do.
I feel like it's backwards for me because it forced me into stagnation mode. It's like, oh my gosh, for the first time I can stop and just not have to deal with everything all at once. But at the same time, you're like, oh crap, now I'm stopped. Now I have to deal with everything that's mentally in my head. And how do you deal with that and try to be creative while still trying to stay safe and also be like a young adult? Am I a young adult? I don't even know anymore. I'm an adult. Oh God, being that millennial.
You pay bills. You're an adult.
I pay the bills. Damn it.
That's it.
I just want the money.
You just want the money without the adulting part of it. No, I get it. I feel like you can be forced into that like sit in your own silence type of thing, and a lot of people can't sit in their own silence. I want to say that I can, but I can't do it always. I'll
Right.
find myself, yeah, I could sit there, maybe meditate or think about something. But the way that I work, and you know this, I'm a social thinker. Like I have to talk to people, and that's where I think the best. When I'm by myself, I can organize a bit. Like I feel like I can organize myself, but when I talk to people, I feel like that's where I get like perspectives that I wasn't thinking about, or maybe there was something I was thinking about, I just didn't know how to articulate it. And just like having this kind of conversation helped me like to get it out of my head sort of deal. But I feel like how some people, if they sat in silence, could be dealing with a lot of demons inside their head, you know? There's a lot of challenges. They can
also create their own demons.
That's true too.
Like, don't get me wrong, sitting in silence is not bad, to your point, but I don't know where I was going with it.
It's all good.
Anyhow.
I know where you're going with it. So, no, I really do. Because there's so many topics that come from sitting in silence, and when you start to think about that as it correlates to like therapy or something, right? For me, just the word, just to say it, I was born in 82. It's not something that was like talked about. I'm a first immigrant generation in the U.S., and I feel like my parents never instilled that part in me to get mental. Like,
Did they tell you to pray about it?
Yeah, a lot.
That's my favorite.
No,
Don't pray about it. Lord's gonna make a way.
No, it's funny. It's funny you say that because that's the truth. Like it was always about like, you know, pray about it. My grandma was a nun, like very religious, Catholic, Roman Catholic stuff. That's why I ended up as I got older. Not that I am not religious. I stepped a bit outside of it to look at it from the outside,
Right.
from a historical standpoint. But I know its benefit, and a lot of that boils down to being able to talk your feelings out, talk with other people, and maybe in those groups, in those support groups, you can like get that help that you need. But there's so many people that are younger than us. Like, okay, I'm 40. You don't have to say how old you are. Yeah, no, say it. Say it, because even every time I say it, I'm like, 40?
You're old now.
How the fuck, where did I get here?
Oh, well, you know.
But so,
not
okay,
many people can say it, though.
what's
not
the
many
age difference between us? Like, you don't
There's
have to
some
say your
years.
age,
There's
but
some years in
there's
there.
some, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the younger generation, like in your group, your group,
I think we're in the same generation, sir.
we are?
We are.
Oh, well, what would be the one right before you? Is it the Gen X's? No, Gen X, you are Gen X.
A millennial.
Millennial?
You're millennial.
Millennial, Gen Z?
Listen, I don't-
Boomers, Zoomers?
No, that was before. Listen,
You see, there's so many.
I think we're just the most messed up because
are
we
the
had
fucked
so
up
much
ones.
to deal with in between. Like, between job market, political, like
The
name
internet
it,
coming out,
name
Y2K.
it all happened between us and the advent of the internet and the explosion that came from that and the technological bloom that is happening as well. Like, we don't know our heads from our arses. Like, call it what it is. We're just trying to thrive, and we're focused on keeping plants alive. You have kids. I mean, I don't know how you do it. More power to you.
It's not easy, you know. They get they have their sass, their own personalities, and they have their own goals and ambitions. Like my daughter at 12, she's talking about building a business. And
I mean, have you met her parents?
yeah, you know.
That was your fault.
It's my fault.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, when I think about that, like, how should I instill therapy or something into their, like, it's okay if you need to talk,
Right?
right?
It's the awareness.
The awareness of it, that you have that help,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like when you experience, you don't know how valuable it is until you experience it. I'm not saying from personal experience, because I have skeletons in the closet that I have yet to confront.
Okay.
But
Halloween Town.
right, but there are friends of mine that have gone to it, and they're like, they speak worlds of it. Like,
Yeah, but the hardest part is getting started. They're so hard to find a good therapist that takes, if you have insurance, takes your insurance. If you don't have insurance, that's affordable, or that shows up, or someone who even understands, like, who you are as a person, and you're not just another number in an insurance scheme.
It's almost like a relationship building. You have to vibe like it's like a Tinder for
It is.
therapist.
Maybe that's what you need to create, a therapist Tinder kind
Well,
of thing happening.
speaking about that, we're not sponsored by it, but BetterHelp is the one that's talking about it right now. Like, that's the
Dang.
biggest, like,
I'm not saying it, but he did.
you know what I mean? BetterHelp is out there. There's even, I looked at it because obviously I'm trying to show my kids like the right things.
Yeah.
And I looked for if there's a better help for 13-year-old, like younger kids.
Yeah.
And they actually have a subsidiary company that's teen something. Don't quote me on it. But if you look for BetterHelp's like teen version, there's a teen version of BetterHelp that will partner them up with like a therapist that you can cycle through. If you don't like that therapist or how they're, building their relationship with your kids, then you can find a different one. But like you said, it's awareness. Like knowing that the tool is available, I think that's the first step, especially in this.
You don't just have to pray about it.
Right? There's not just one solution for this whole thing.
I mean, you still can. Don't get me wrong. By all means, do what you got to do to get to you.
Yeah. Do what you got to do. But I feel like that building yourself, if I would have been able to focus on that at a younger age, I feel like I would have been a little bit more ahead in my like learning curve. And I don't mean learning curve and just learning like technology and stuff, just in my own self-development learning curve. Like you talk about it with me all the time. You're like, hey, you're getting in your own way, like you're scatterbrained and stuff like that. And I take that feedback to heart and I try to like, okay, what is causing me to be so scattered? Is it because I'm not focusing, not losing interest on the topic? Is it something I'm passionate about? And that brings up like the whole thing of why I'm doing this. A lot of people say, okay, well, you're good at this, making this studio space and podcasting. Why can't you do X, Y, and Z business? And it all boils down to, do I love to do it? Like, I fucking love to do this. I'll wake up.
Yeah, I know you dragged me over here to do it.
I literally sat everyone down at that table, my kids, my mom, everyone, because I feel like it's like a form of content creation that makes the real authentic you come out, because
That's therapeutic.
It really is. Like, honestly, it really is. If you can be a really good interviewer, I've seen people share things that they've never thought they would share in a podcast form. And it's just because you feel comfortable. It's like we're having a conversation. We kind of forget the cameras are there.
Well, not anymore. You just reminded me, my guy.
No, I know, but we get to a point where we kind of go through that. And then then you share some stuff. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, man, like being in your mind, I think is the first step. Addressing those things and then taking another step to kind of action, right? So what does it look like for you? Like, have you tried to take a step forward to do something, anything?
No, yes, maybe. I feel like yes is the correct answer.
Yeah.
But something like, okay, for example, today we were signing into all these different websites and I kept having issues.
Oh, dude.
Right?
Say that.
Things that would never ever happen to anyone. It's like error this, error that. Like, what the hell is this error? Things you've never seen before. So those are barriers to entries. And I feel as though for me, my biggest barrier to entry is that I have, or at least I think I have the ability to do so many things that when it comes time to do it, I either lose the drive or the barrier to entry, which is time, location, space, money, becomes the problem. Where you ask yourself, is it worth it? Because the moment has passed.
It's like the price is too high.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the price that's too high or if I'm just not in it. The moment itself, it's really the moment. Because if you want something, like we've all been where we spent way too much money on something that we just wanted in the moment.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, that instant gratification. But in that moment, that's what felt right. That was bringing you the biggest joy, the biggest happiness. It inspired you to move on to the next thing. But without it, like, oh, well. But you sit in your mind too much thinking about it, like, do I want it, do I not? I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. By the time it comes to make that decision, you're like, nah, I'm good.
No, I know.
Makes sense? I felt
For me, I did the same thing when I was trying to get the Tesla. Mm. So I knew, like, it was, okay, whether you feel some type of way about the company or the cost for having this type of car versus all that, put that aside for a second. First immigrant, kid in the house. Not that I'm making six figures.
It's a big move, though.
It's a different mindset, right? Yeah. So I had to put it in front of me as like, okay, this is the goal I need to attain. I need to get into this car, but what is it that I need to do to get into that car? It's not like, how can I afford it? It's not, what do I need to do? What kind of work do I need to put in to make more money so that can be justifiable and it could be a benefit to me? Yeah. And I sat and thought about it, and I started planning on it. I put the reservation down. You know, back then it was a long wait. So I had a good 6 months to think about it and to kind of build myself into it. I was watching videos every day. My family got so fed up, right? I didn't have, the credit nor the down payment to make this happen.
You just wanted it.
I wanted it because not just like, oh, this is a cool thing. I love technology, and I love to be like ahead in the space. I rented a Tesla before I took this thing, right? And I rented a Legacy Model S, took it to Texas, and I was like, I've been living in the Stone Age. Because when you drive it and you have it self-drive for you,
it's a different feel.
You could hear it, but it's different. Yeah. Feel it, and then you're like, oh, crap, I've been driving like Flintstones cars, right? Facts. So moral of the story is that I had to do the behaviors that were necessary for me to afford the car. What are those behaviors? Have good credit. Don't have overutilization on your credit cards. Pay those down. Save money so that you can have your payments ahead of time. Like, I had it to the point where my payments were 3 to 6 months out on that car so that I didn't have to worry about those month-to-month payments and worry about my business and see how that was fitting into the equation.
Is it worth it?
Dude, I got the car, hasn't even been a year yet, and I have 20,000 miles on it. I've saved well over $2,000-3,000 on just gas alone, and not even talking about tolls
or maintenance.
I drive that thing down. I live in like up north, like about an hour north from the studio, and I take it down every day. Every day I take it down, and the mileage I don't even care about because the car, I haven't had the perfect experience with it because I did have a flat. Yeah. So that was fun times. But besides the point of the car itself, it's the behaviors I needed to do to get into that mindset. And a lot of people talk about that. When you want to be successful, you want to make more money, you need to put your mind in that like mindset of already making it.
But you also need the actionables. Like, to your point, yeah, you had your mind in it, but you also started to do the things that were necessary to get you there. It doesn't matter how much you wish upon a star. If you weren't doing the steps that need to be done, it wasn't going to happen. It's like reading a bunch of self-help books and like not listening to them or right. not implementing any steps.
That's so well said, because like you can get into a paralysis of like preparation instead of like
and
doing it.
And it's such a good paralysis too.
It feels good because you're like, oh, I'm learning. You're kind of like, I'm building.
It's like fitness. Everyone wants to get, oh my gosh, how many, like, you have TikTok saved, you have your Instagram Reels saved. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Nah, maybe Monday. That's real late.
We got to work out today? No.
I got to get in the clothes. Maybe I got to go to Target. It's a little much right now.
Mm-hmm. So I agree. The action, you have to almost like, that's where I say the walk by faith thing. Because like, yeah, you have this goal. You put your mindset in that space where you already own it, right? And then you start to walk, and then all of a sudden it's hard. It wasn't easy paying down those cards. It wasn't easy not spending the money I had been spending.
Strange for a little piece of change.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
amen.
You gotta.
You are in Florida. Do you?
You gotta do what you gotta do. No, but I didn't do anything shady. I did do as best as I could. But then what came from that was that like, for example, Barron saw me in the car. I gave him a ride. Next thing you know, he's buying one because it made sense. Yeah, started making sense to him. And then you start to see like how you can then persuade people because of the road you headed down, and you can maybe potentially inspire them to like get out of whatever rut they're in and be like, yo, come on. Like, it's not, you got to just take action. And that goes back to like the people you surround yourself by. Like I noticed that when my inner circle changed and people were talking about like making money or doing great things, like ideas and stuff, my outcomes started to change.
Did you think that before those thoughts and ideas were too out of the box for you? Like so far unattainable when you were in those circles at the beginning?
I don't think it was that. I think it was your brain trying to keep you safe. Tony Robbins talks about this a lot, where it's like brain tries to justify what action you're about to take, and it says, "Oh, it's too cold today. You're too tired. You've been working nonstop all week. Like, you could rest on a Saturday, right?"
Yeah.
And you have to get to a point where you're like, "Brain, shut up. I need you to do this, no matter what reasoning you're trying to put on me." And that's why, like, the whole cold bath shock theory, kind of like they talk about it, is because you want to train your mind to act, as opposed to come up with reasonings not to act. Because to be honest, your mind is there to keep you safe. Your brain is trying to say, hey, this is dangerous. But it might not be dangerous. It just might be uncomfortable. It might be something you thought you never could do, right? Like, I've been put into rooms with people that I thought I would never be surrounded by. And I forced myself to get into those rooms, and the outcome was really good. Like, relationships were built, opportunities came up. But if I listened to my brain, I would have stayed home.
What's the wildest story of your brain getting you into a position that you weren't mentally, well, I guess not mentally prepared for? But you know where I'm going with this. Tell me a story.
So back in the day, like, if I'm fucking, hold on a second. Hold on a second, because I'm being.
Well, as you do that, I'm going to chug my water.
Yeah, because we're about to go to round 2.
Oh, well, why have water when I can have alcohol?
You're hilarious. You gotta hydrate yourself. That's why.
I guess. Whatever.
So back to the story. So I was approached by an independent film company from Brazil to go and record like a project in the Bahamas. And this was being referred to me by a third party. So they were like, hey, I referred you because, you shoot video. I think you'd be a great fit for it. Try to go for the project. Okay, so I go and I talk to the guys, and I'm like, okay, this would be a cool thing for me to be a part of. Let's go. The first thing they said is I had to ship my equipment before I got there. Red flag. Like, it's the first red flag, right? Especially when you're talking about a freelance person and their entire livelihood is in the bag, and you're asking me to ship that thing, and I don't know who you are. Exactly. Like, that is a little bit shady. So I said no. Immediately I was like, no, never mind. I'm going to step back from the project. First example of my brain using past examples that have resulted in a bad way to stop me from a new opportunity, right? Well, but the universe has a funny way of pushing you past those things, by the way. So I said no. A week later, they reached back out. They're like, come on, we really need your help. Obviously, they probably couldn't find anyone. And they were really adamant about it. And I felt there was fishy. I was like, look, guys, I can't send my equipment. It has to come with me. Well, they gave in, and they were like, okay, you can bring your equipment, but we really need you. Jump on this flight, whatever. So I jump on the flight. As soon as I land, I'm greeted by the tourism representative. She takes me all the way through customs. We get past customs. We're in like a private vehicle, and she's like, hey, do you want to go back to the hotel? And I'm like, no, I'm here to work. Take me to where we got to go. Takes me to the concert. From that point, from that first day, this thing was a Saturday, I landed at 8 p.m. and there was a whole concert happening at 10 p.m. From that day to the day I left the Bahamas, I didn't sleep. So it was like 3 days of staying up. But this was by far the biggest test for all the things that I had learned prior to see what I could do in this environment. Unknown environment. It's not like I've been doing work for HBO for like every week and I was accustomed to how things work. I'm new to this. I'm new to the rules. I'm new to everything. Long story short, there's a bunch of challenges that came along the way, but we overcame a lot of those. The biggest challenge that came up was that we wanted to get the Prime Minister on video. Because it was a tourism video. It was to invite people to the Junk Canoe Festival. It was the first year of the Junk Canoe Festival, and we wanted to get people to be invited by the Prime Minister. Well, the production assistant couldn't get that because they had to go through red tape. No one on the HBO side could have gotten it because, all the political stuff. Right. And I'm sitting here the last day at the last concert with the Who Let the Dogs Out people. They were there. It was funny. I don't know.
You're dating yourself for sure.
Yeah, whatever. But it is what it is. So I'm sitting there in the HBO tent, and the tents are all lined up. and I'm looking down onto the crowd, and I see like an entire like sea of people partying, and it's the prime minister with all his security coming, and he's like 3 tents down to the left. So I look at the production assistant, and I'm like, hey, is it cool if I try? She's like, look, you can't say that you're from the tourism board. Like, you're going to try? That's on you. I'm like, all right, guys, watch my equipment, because I can't carry that and go try to do what I got to do. Right. So I'm sitting there. I go outside the tent, and I'm pacing, bro. I see the tent. I see his security. This is a prime minister. Like you're going to see.
Like beads dripping off your forehead.
Dude, you see, like, it's almost like Secret Service or whatever it is. Their security's outside. Then they have other, there's like layers to it.
Of course.
And I'm pacing. I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? So I go back to the HBO side, and I see one of these reporters that we had met at a mixer prior. And he's outside VIP. He's not like, and I'm like, oh, let me just, me being the cool, like the nice guy, I got a little VIP pass. So I'm like, hey, he's with HBO, come in, let him in. So the guy comes in, he's like, oh, thank you so much. I didn't think I was going to get in here. I'm like, come, bro, let's go to the HBO thing, and we'll get some drinks or whatever. So I'm vibing with him, and I'm like, I'm going to shoot my shot. I don't know. And he asked me, he's like, yo, did you get everything? I'm like, no, man, I couldn't get the prime minister. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I know his best friend. Hold up. Let me, right. Yo, I swear, I can't even like make this shit up. He's like, give me a second. I'm going to call. Okay. Yeah, they're over at the tent. Let me walk you over. I can only get you to him, and you got to do the rest. Like, it's up to you. So I'm like, bet. Put me in front of whoever you got to put me in front of. I'll make sure it happens. I'm preparing my pitch as we're walking over to make it concise, short, what are the advantages, and let me in. So I boom, I hit the bullet points. The guy's like, all right, well, you're going to have to talk to the head of security. Head of security comes up, all right, let's go. Boom. Oh, well, you're going to have to talk to his assistant. And like little by little, I'm climbing, right? Getting there. I get to the last person that's going to make the call, and I do my strongest pitch. I'm like, look, we need the prime minister because this is really going to help out the tourism. And I do the whole pitch. The guy looks around. He's like, where's your crew? I'm like, give me 30 seconds. I run the back, and I tell everybody, let's go. I got the prime minister. And they're like, don't ask questions. Let's go. And we go, we get it. Bro, at the end of it, I was beside myself. But it showed me that sometimes that fear you have to confront it, and then you have to take all those dots you connected back and try to put them to action to see if it can get you close. Like, there's nothing you can do when you're faced with that opportunity that you're trying to overcome. All you can do is fight for your life. And that's what I tried to do.
I feel like at that moment we got to cheers to that. Like that. That's
bro.
A pretty dope story.
It's one of my best. Like, I tell it that story I tell a lot because that's fucking intense.
So you putting it down? You can't put it down.
This one after the Duke and Dame is really nice.
Oh yeah.
It's like a citrusy.
You didn't even mention which one this is yet.
Oh, so this one I didn't really mention it because it's not necessarily a sponsor. It was a gift. This is Redwood Empire. This was a gift from a close friend of mine, Jason Weeman. Jason Weeman came to the studio last week, and he is starting his journey as a coach, like a life coach, success coach, also leadership coach. And we created some content together, and it was really cool how he went through that journey. And he was like, yo, I want to give you a gift. Like, this is like my favorite, so I'm going to bring it to you. And yo, Jay, this is fire, nice. Man. It's some rye whiskey. My favorite part about it is the quote. It's like, most people are on the world, not in it. And I love marketing, I love branding, and this has a really dope branding. So check out Redwood Empire if you're ever in the stores. But yeah, that's why I don't plug this one, because that's my secret stash. Oh. So my personal stash. But yeah, now that I told my long ass story, what did you think about that? Like, any questions you have?
Not really. I think knowing you as long as I do and seeing your journey and progression, I can see how your continued positivity and your care for people really got you into that position. It wasn't necessarily about you taking the risk. It's about you building upon the relationships you already have, because the risk was going to be there regardless. But because you were so kind to someone that you've met prior and you connected with them as a person, not just as a thing or an opportunity, then that led you down the path. So you positioned yourself in order to get that blessing, to get that connection, to give that green light or that green flag for everything else that you wanted. So going forward in life, it's not only about betting on yourself or taking that risk like you wanted to, but also knowing your boundaries. Because if it wasn't for you knowing your boundaries, you wouldn't have gotten your equipment the way that you wanted to carry it. And if it got damaged, then you would have been screwed. And, being there and being you, being personable and not giving up, because Lord knows you never give up. I wish sometimes you would. But because of that, you found a way. So I think it's pretty dope.
I like it. I like that. So, I mean, we're rounding out the episode now. We normally go a lot longer, but because I want to keep it short and concise,
Because I don't like being on camera. I appreciate that.
It's all good. It's all good. But typically what we do is we end the show with a message for the week. So I'm going to let you take the honors. Is there something
Oh, my gosh. No, do not do that. No. Nah. Reverse the no part, my guy.
Give a message to yourself.
I don't have a message.
Well, like, what if you had something inspirational you wanted to tell yourself? Or it doesn't have to be inspirational. It could just be whatever. Yeah. It could be just like, whatever.
No. Don't try to play me off after a story like that. You try to play. No. I know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work. Uno reverse. You're going to take that.
Uno reverse.
Yep.
No, but like, let's say there's somebody watching right now that's in your shoes, right? And maybe, they just need that little push or that little perspective.
Find yourself someone like Angel who will then go ahead and provide you with that push.
I love how you broke the fourth wall.
Yes. Immediately for that one, I will look directly in the camera. Crusty lips and all.
You're so cute. So there's probably going to be parts of this that you're going to put out as a reel.
Oh, I am?
I mean, you said some really good stuff. I feel like people would be shocked hearing some of that stuff from you. I may have to do a little editing to help you out, but it's all good.
A lot of it.
No, it's just the little logo you got on the side of your arm.
Oh, no. You should tell me I didn't have more clothes.
It's easy peasy, cover breezy.
Oh. Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl.
Yeah, it's all good. But no, I want to thank you because you accepted the challenge. You allowed me to push you out. You had some drinks with me.
Angel, you forced me.
Sometimes it's what you need.
You literally, I was sitting here on my iPad and you were setting up cameras and I was asking you, what are you doing?
Hey, look, I've done worse for people. I've actually just set the cameras up, started recording, and not tell them anything.
That's illegal.
It is, but then at the end of it, I admit it.
Oh, yay, at the end.
At the end, after the damage has been done.
Nice. Okay, it's not as bad.
Right?
It's not as bad.
If you're sticking around this long, thank you for hanging out on the lab. We do this every Friday. If you're interested in coming to the studio, hit us up in the DM, Co.Lab Studios, Miami. What do we do here? We help you create content, whether it's podcasts or other types of video. We inspire you. And we also take the hard part out of making it. So you just got to show up. The rest is on us. And we'll get it to you in 24 to 48 hours. So what more can you ask for?
You can pay me.
That's true. With that being said, peace. Say bye.
Oh.